Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to talk about the new Crane 3S Pro that I purchased. I'm coming from the Ronin S with the similar kind of setup, but I switched over due to having the C200 as well as the Pocket. I wanted to be able to use the C200 on jobs as well, and with the extension, I'm able to use the C200 with the monitor on there. I mean, it's great. This is probably the most flexible gimbal due to the fact it can basically adapt to any setup you have. It can be super heavy or it can be fairly light. So typically I have the 18 to 35 on here. Right now I have the 50, and I think it's the Altair ND flip that allows your variable ND filter to flip up and flip down pretty quickly. I try to keep, the 180 shutter as much as I can, so that really helps make it easy for me. I have the tilted half cage as well as the Samsung T5, and I also have the small rig ring that allows you to put the NATO rail handles, and I'm using the rubber ones because they're the most comfortable in my opinion. So this allows you to keep it in close. I can still maneuver the follow focus, which I'm using and is included with the actual Pro package. So I just really love it. I can still access all the buttons on the other side as well and do my movements up, down. It's fairly heavy, but it's not too bad at all. So anytime we're talking about gimbals, we need to power the camera. So I'm using the included, I think it's the Transmount or the Power Plus pack. I'm using this to actually power the camera itself. I guess originally it's used for if you have a really heavy rig and you're gonna attach it maybe to a moving car, or you just have a really heavy rig. This will help give it extra power. But you can also run the D-tap to the 12 volt on the side of the Pocket. And one note about that is this takes 11 to 20 volts. So you want to make sure you're plugging in port number 1, which is 14.8 volts. In addition to that, you do need to take out the battery. That's what it says in the owner's manual. I know a lot of people keep the battery in there as kind of a backup, and I have done that in the past as well. But in the manual, it plainly states if you're going to use an alternative power solution, you should take that out because I guess it can short the board or something like that. So I am taking that out. I ran a kind of a test 2 hours straight recording to the Samsung T5 with no problems. And I still had time left over. So I'm guesstimating this will probably get you 3 to 4 hours on a shoot day. The best part about it is you can take out the batteries and put in 6 new ones. And these are Zhiyun's own battery. It's 18650. Now these are, I guess, a little bit shorter than the standard 18650 battery, so you do need to buy theirs specifically, which isn't a big deal because I think you can get 6 for about $90. So that's not a big deal at all. So I love that, and that's how I'm powering everything. And also the internal batteries will typically run you about, they say 12 hours. So I never had an issue running out of batteries on my gimbal usually. So that's what we have for power. Now, of course, anytime you're talking about a gimbal, the weight is a concern. All right, so this rig is about 15 pounds. And it's not that difficult with this particular setup. Now, I will say with the C200, it is much more front heavy because you have the extension on there, and it's definitely a lot harder to deal with. Now this I can definitely deal with pretty easily. So with this setup, you can still use the included handle, underslung handle. And I do use this if I'm gonna do any underslung. Oh shit. Now with this, you can still use the underslung handle. And so if I'm gonna do any underslung shots, I can slap that on there. Now it does prevent you from getting the gimbal as close as I would normally like. That's why I typically don't have it on there all the time. Now I do have the HDMI transmitter module on the bottom, and I would typically use that with my smartphone if I'm going to do any over the head shots. As you can see, you can tilt that down and that works pretty good. I mean, it's obviously not as good as just plugging in an external monitor. And latency isn't too bad, but I do use that from time to time. So overall, the verdict on this rig is it's great. I love the two handle support, the fact that it's close together. Also the fact that I can still maneuver the follow focus. Overall, it's definitely better than the Ronin S for me because I can adapt it to my rig. It can handle more weight and it's constantly not bumping in the back, and I can spin it fully. It's just a lot better for me. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll leave links to the description. Thanks for checking it out. Please like and subscribe for more great content.